shall we welcome the leader of the opposition this afternoon from Tel Aviv A, EUDC.
It's really neat to bomb churches and stuff because vendors spend resources defending churches. Now here's a neat idea. Let's start bombing orphanages because vendors have to spend orphanages or any other form of civil infrastructure. Let's bomb sewage stations because vendors have to defend sewage stations. We say the government simply failed to offer a very ridiculous point on this. We say that if you're going to target everything, if you're going to target churches in order to dilute the enemy's defenses, you might as well target other civil services, and they fail to show, and obviously this point fails completely. The only real justification for targeting religious infrastructure in particular is the particular nature of its effect on morale and so on and so forth. So this ridiculous point on defending sites is just false immediately. Now on to crazy rhetoric. Well, yes, the enemy might say oh, okay, you ruined our temple, so God must not exist. But let's look at one particular group that I'm thinking of, let's say Jews, who by the Romans in the exact circumstance that you have described, and that actually made us remember this day in and day out, and mention the ruin of Jerusalem and the temple every year for the past 2,000 years. So, the suggestion is actually making a symbol of struggle to the other side. Maybe offending the very core of your identity actually makes people hate you for a very long time. Okay, so let's get cracking with some positive, although I'm loving this. Okay, first, we go on side of opposition. We contend that what they suggest, the positive they are suggesting, actually constitutes collective punishment. And we'll explain to you why that's awfully, awfully bad. Second, we'll explain to you how this causes massive harms to non-competence, and we'll show you how religion is in fact something that is special and does need special protection. And lastly, we will talk about how some orders are not legitimate and actually consider the soldiers who are going to be ordered to drag the bodies of saints and pieces off. Okay, so let's get cracking. No collective punishment. Well, I'm sorry that I have to remind you about the Geneva Convention. Actually, it's illegal to punish the general populace for in the course of war. This is illegal to stock water or sewage or medical care or other basic services from citizens in the course of war. You are punishing citizens, civilians who are not army, who are not competent, who are not legitimate targets in the course of wars. This goes against the very basic tenets of Western conceptions of justice. Do not harm someone who isn't actually actively resisting you. You do not do that, and by desecrating a mosque, you are doing that to the entire Muslim population. Go.
Can you give us some analysis of what your criteria for legitimate and illegitimate are?
Excellent.
Tell us why we should care about the Geneva.
Yes. Excellent. We say that this causes a direct harm to non-competence that is equivalent to denying them food, water, and medical services. This is our contention on the side of the opposition, and we are actually going to try to convince you of that. So, we say the following thing. Religion can be a very, very basic aspect of your personality. And you could say, okay, I also like film, that's also a basic aspect of my personality. But let's look closer. We say that religion is first something that you hold very deeply, maybe something that you hold very deeply in your heart. Second, that the rewards that you attribute to religion may be much, much vaster and greater in scope than the rewards you attribute to food or running water. Because you think that water may give you an extra 70 years to live on this not so good world, whereas having a Muslim symbol desecrated means that you are going to hell for eternity. So you're looking at short gains, short-term gains. A rational actor would actually say that he's better off being deprived of food and medicine than being deprived of this sanctity of religion. Now, you might say this is crazy because we're like all enlightened Europeans who are largely secular, right? But we pointed to Buddhist monks who actually burned themselves in protest of the American occupation in Vietnam. We pointed to suicide bombers who actually blow themselves up, including civilian populations, just because they were extremely angry at some violation of the religion. So what we say fundamentally, this is a crucial point, is that religion forms an extra need. Just as when you occupy a territory and you need to give extra liberties to certain people, like let's look at Israel and the Palestinians, for example. Like we deprive people who are under occupation from the freedom of motion, right? Their capability to go from place to place is hindered. But if you have a certain illness, if you need dialysis daily, these limitations do not apply. We allow you to go to the dialysis because you have an extra need. And we say that religion forms this extra need. It gives you another sort of food that you need to eat, which may not be as tangible, but is of no less importance. And so we come to the conclusion that food and sanctity are things that are on equal ground, and not like something that is less important or something that can be trivialized as first-class rights. Lastly, some orders are not legitimate because the government completely ignored the agents that are involved in the mechanisms they are proposing. They ignored soldiers. The government is seriously suggesting that we should order soldiers to go and do horrific stuff. Now we say that desecration, stuff that is the act of desecration essentially involves impure things, things that are so vile that they have survived in the concepts of all men as horrible and something that must not be done. Soldiers are not monsters. They do not randomly kill civilians. They recognize that in certain situations you may have to kill a civilian in the course of combat because he is in proximity to another combatant. Soldiers are not allowed, and they have been trained not to do stuff to target religious sites or to target civilians in a non-combatant environment. Religious